All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. We were just discussing Elon Musk and Doge, that Department of Government Efficiency, the cuts that we're seeing being made by the U.S. administration. Now, Quebec-based aid organizations are facing challenges due to funding cuts from the U.S. under Donald Trump's administration. Now, the Center for International Studies and Cooperation, CECI, has had to cancel its support programs in Mali, where it provided food and housing for families displaced by war. USAID, which has historically funded projects like these, is undergoing that budget freeze. It's affecting numerous Canadian initiatives, and aid groups, of course, are concerned. Let's find out a little bit more. Philippe Dongier joins us now, Executive Director of the Center for International Studies and Cooperation. It's based right here in Montreal. Philippe, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
So let me ask you, how quickly did this happen, right? So I heard that, USAID and the funding was kind of frozen. Was it overnight? Was it immediate?
Yeah, it was very sudden. So we heard the news, and then a couple of days after that, we received a letter from the USAID saying that the programs were suspended. Mm-hmm. They said that humanitarian programs may be exempted, but we never got clarification until today as to whether this particular program that they're funding with us is exempted or not, even though it's humanitarian. So we're hoping it will be exempted, but as of now, we are on pause.
So that's it. And I'd heard, I think it was from Marco Rubio, said, we've exempted a couple of things like for famine and for health. We're exempting that. But do you have a further?
So we expect we may be exempted, but we haven't heard that confirmation. Gotcha. See, in this program, we do food aid to people, as you said, who moved because of the war, shelter, protection against violence. So it's really humanitarian. Yeah. So it should be exempted, but we haven't heard.
How much runway do you have at CECI? You must get funding from other places and kind of thing. So how much runway do you have to continue your mission?
No, this program, of course, in Mali, we've been there for 40 years, working with different sources of fund, with different partners. But this is an important program. It's $3 million over 18 months, and it's been renewing every year. USAID was keeping funding it because there's been this problem of violence in that region for a while. So this is actually a humanitarian program that's badly needed, needs to continue, but it's on pause right now. Yeah. So it's a real problem for the families that depend on this. It's life and death to some extent for some of them.
So Philippe, listen, we were talking in the break. You've given your life to this. You went to McGill. You graduated at 22. You go off around the world. You've given your life to things like this. I'm just a simple radio host. I'm a dumb guy. I admit it, right? I'm a dumb radio host. I ask questions. I don't know much. You mentioned 40 years in Mali. So this is what goes through my brain, okay? And why I feel that, sometimes if we're going to have a closer look at how much we spend around the world, I'm like, kind of in favor. I agree, we need to help other countries. When I hear it's 40 years of doing it, I'm like, well, geez, at a certain point, don't we actually have to, no, now it's you, whoever we're helping, we have to set them free and so they can do it themselves. I worry when I hear it's 40 years of doing something. What do you say? Again, this is my radio host view. I don't know all the details. What do you say to that?
Yeah. Well, I say, it's like with people. Some of them take more time, some of them less. If you take Kenya, for example, or Ghana, these are two countries that are now doing very well. So they need much less aid. And they're graduating, if you want. They have a booming economy. They're becoming a trade partner. A country like Mali is at war. There is growing terrorism. There is, armed groups. And it's a country that, because of this conflict, the poverty is one of the highest in the world. In fact, if you see worldwide poverty, where is it? Extreme poverty, it's in conflict-affected countries. It's Yemen, it's Mali, it's South Sudan. So those countries are in disarray. Yeah. Now, of course, we could walk away. We walk away, what will happen? China, Russia will move in. We'll lose influence in one of the fastest growing demographies in the world. Is that what we want? It's a choice. We could do that. Or we stay engaged with the communities. We maintain friendships. We help people who really need it. And, that's long-term influence, as well as stability, security, which may reduce terrorism, which may be good for us as well. It may also, reduce the pressures for migrations, which is also good for us. So it's not just about being kind. And yes, it is. The reason, people who work in this field do it because they like to be of value to others. There are many jobs in the world you can do for that. You can be a teacher, you can be a nurse, or you can be a development worker. You're doing stuff that's useful. But it's also very much the interest of Canada for the reasons I said.
So, and to me, now you're speaking to me, right? Because I look at those things, and particularly if if Canada or the U.S., if we leave these fields, creates a vacuum, somebody always fills it. Exactly. You bring up China, you bring up Russia, right? Yeah. Is that the case you're making right now? Like when I imagine you're working the phones, you're trying to affect change here and maybe walk back some of these decisions from the U.S. What's the case you're making?
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah. Is that Russia and China have big ambitions in Africa. Lots of natural resources, a future market, lots of votes at the United Nations. They are strategically important countries in addition to having big needs. So it's in our interest to maintain engagement. Yeah. And as I said, stability is probably the biggest, instability, the biggest cause of extreme poverty, terrorism, and mass migrations in a disorganized way, which is not good for the people who have to migrate, who have no option. It's also not good for the countries where they go when it's done in a disorganized way. So for many reasons, it's really key to continue to be there.
Can you continue that mission, but also cut on waste and fraud? I also have this worry, and I just see it, and it's just multiple organizations, they get bigger. You look at the accounting, you're saying, geez, where's the money going? A lot of overhead and that kind of thing. Can you see any value to taking a closer look, not your organization specifically, but organizations in general that do this kind of work and saying, hey, we got to cramp down on maybe fraud and grift that happens in these organizations?
Look, absolutely always a good idea to look deeper at possible fraud. And yes, there are cases, But if you ask me whether there is widespread fraud, I really don't think so. Uh-huh. And believe me, we look at that very closely. We have systems of, surprise checks. We check the invoices. We go and actually see with the suppliers. I mean, there are lots of checks and balances because indeed we know that's a risk. Yeah. But would it be worthwhile to look deeper for fraud? Yes, absolutely. Let's do it.
And sometimes, maybe it's not even fraud. It's just like human nature. And it's, by the way, it's not, we can talk about aid organizations. It happens in construction. It happens in every part of society.
Indeed.
There's, the industrial complex where, you have a great staff, 100. Let's hire 10 more. Let's hire 50. And it just grows and grows and grows. Yeah. How do you like for your organization, how do you keep in check? Okay, we got a mission. We're going to accomplish it, but we don't want this creep of just getting bigger for bigger's sake.
Yeah, and what we do is, a simple principle of competition. You have to stick to that. For everything you buy, you want to make sure you get multiple offers, and you choose the cheapest one. And you verify, even once, you take a sample of the transaction you've done and you actually send people to see whether that's done properly or not.
Yeah. If the funding doesn't come back from USAID for your organization, for CECI, what happens?
Well, it's a problem for this particular project. Uh-huh. So it's a project of $3 million, 18 months in a country that has desperate need for that help. So we would try to replace that money with money from someone else. So we have made an appeal to foundations, to other governments to help us, to donors, and we'll try to scramble to maintain at least some of the activity. That's one project. Our other projects are not at risk because the USAID is just one of our funders. Gotcha. It's really far from being the main one. Our main donors are the government of Canada, the government of Quebec, and then a number of foundations.
What happens to the people in Mali if you've got to cut the program? I don't know if you can take us through, whether it's months or years, how do you foresee things happening if you've got to end programs like this?
Yeah, if you got to end program like that, you desperately look for alternatives for those people. Now, the good news is that, we're not alone doing this kind of work. There are people from all over, from Japan, from Europe, from many countries, and from Africa itself. There are lots of groups that are trying to be, in solidarity with people in extreme needs. I mean, here we're talking about people among the most vulnerable in the world. So we need to find a way to resolve this gap in funding. Now, we still hope that USAID, or whatever it's going to be called in the future, will come through in keeping alive humanitarian assistance, which they said they will.
Philippe, we're going to have to leave it there. Real pleasure talking to you. I think you're a really interesting voice, by the way. Maybe we can talk in the future about other subjects as well.
Sure.
Philippe Dongier right there, Executive Director of the Center for International Studies and Cooperation. It's an international organization, supports communities in 17 countries. They're based right here in Montreal.